All right, we are back. Episode 53, short story long. This week I'm joined by a very special guest, the master of sneakers, the master of sneaker cleaning, Jason Markk.
What's up, man?
How do you feel about that title? Should I
I
go
don't
a
know.
little higher than that?
Nah, I
The
think
master
that's
of all things footwear?
oh, man. I guess the cleaning guy.
I don't like that.
The
You're
shoe.
way above that. You're the sneaker rebirth guru.
I've never heard that one. That one's good. I like
There it
that.
is. We'll stick with that.
uh,
So we're here with the sneaker rebirth guru, Jason Markk. And Jason, I got to say, long before I knew you, I had your stuff in my house, and it is I'm actually really not big on cleaning my shoes. I'm kind of bougie, and I kind of wear them until they get messed up and get rid of them. And your product really changed my sort of approach on that because it does. I mean, this isn't an ad, but it just does work so well. And it really does, like, sort of, I don't know, the first couple of times we did it, Danny and I did it, and it really just refreshes your entire thing. So
right.
thank you for creating an amazing product.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really that's the hope, is that, people just give it a try.
Yeah.
And people aren't, not everybody's into cleaning their sneakers, just like you said.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But a lot of okay, look, so when I launched the product, there was a lot of skepticism. It was like, oh, that's soap in a bottle. Like, he's just, capitalizing off the culture, this, that, and the third. But like, my response to that has always been, for the last 10 years, is just try it.
Yeah.
Try it, and if you feel the same way,
Then don't use it anymore. Yeah.
that's it.
So it's rare, I guess, that, like, being out here in LA and knowing all the people that we know, that you sort of get a product and you don't know the person. You know what I mean? Like, it just sort of was around. We always had it here. Chief, my marketing guy, always had it. And so I wasn't using it like as your friend or like supporting. You know what I mean? I just really tried it out, and it really changed my opinion on sort of the whole cleaning your shoes thing, which is why I thought it would be great to have you on and to tell your story of how you did that.
I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked to be here. I've listened to a bunch of the episodes, and I really enjoy them. So
thank you.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So let's, as you know from listening, what I usually do is I go all the way back to the very, very beginning. Where are you from, and how did you get there?
So born and raised Southern California in the South Bay.
Got it.
Which, to be more specific, Harbor City.
Okay.
And just grew up Southern California. Although I lived in Harbor City technically. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the South Bay.
I'm not really.
It's sort of like all these it's like Carson, Torrance, Redondo Beach, Long Beach. It's like this pocket that we just refer to as the South Bay, and those are my stomping grounds from like birth to like college, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was life like in South Bay? Like, were you into skating and stuff like that early, or like, what about early childhood?
Early childhood, basketball.
Really?
Yeah, just, at a young age, growing up with my family, you're a Laker fan, like whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And I love it. So, I grew up just watching games. My dad used to take us to the Forum. Grew up during that whole Showtime era.
Yeah.
Which was fun. And my mom and my aunties just yelling at the TV, and just that was like that I will never forget. Just every time there was a Laker game. So basketball was big. I just playing outside until the sun went down.
Yeah.
And dreaming of being like the first Asian play.
That's amazing.
You'd always do the countdown, like 3, 2, 1, and the the fadeaway, or just I really thought when I was young, when I was like I don't know, like 8, 9, maybe even younger, just I thought that I could be in the NBA.
Yeah.
But now you see all these Asian players like the first one was like Yu Ming, right? And then like Jordan Clarkson's like apparently half Filipino, and all these things, and like that back when that was never even like
didn't exist.
Did not exist.
Really?
So I thought that growing up and going through grade school, basketball was just like, I just wanted to play basketball. And I thought, I had a buddy, he was my best friend like back in like kindergarten, and we were the only two dudes that were like, there was like this mini court, and we were the only two that we would just, that's all we would do during like recess or like break or whatever it was. It was just like trying to dunk the ball.
Yeah.
It was basketball.
Uh-huh.
And that was sort of a big part of my life, kind of growing up, and that came all to like a crashing end when I tried out for the high school basketball team and figured out that I wasn't really that good at all.
That's what that was the end of it.
Completely sucked.
Yeah.
But
it's funny, man. I'm so jealous of the family sort of sports. Like, I still am just not a huge sports fan, and I'm trying so hard to get into it. But it's because my family, part one was because my family just wasn't that into sports.
Mm-hmm.
And part two, because I'm from Akron, Ohio, which the closest team was obviously Cleveland. And for the most part, Cleveland was terrible at sports my entire childhood, right? So like you just didn't have that like feeling of like, oh, we might make it to the championships, we might whatever. So it just never embedded that like sports thing in me, you know what I mean? But like I'm trying so hard now, and obviously like I'm loving the finals because Cleveland and whatever, and this is the first time like I really feel like I've been like legitimately super excited. But I ended up putting all of my energy into skateboarding, but I just now as an adult I'm jealous of that sort of family sports passion, that you get from having a team like the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm so like grateful for that.
Yeah.
My dad, it was only it was basketball, but it was like all sports, like Mike Tyson when he used to fight.
Yep.
That was like a thing. Like family would come over, and my dad, he put me into sports at a young age. Like I played AYSO, I played basketball, obviously. I ran track, I played flag football, all these things, which is a trip because I'm not the most athletic dude today.
Yeah.
Like I still like to, play ball and run some games and maybe occasionally run and just get out there and run. But like it definitely did something for my childhood and just my upbringing. So like sports was a big thing growing up. Hip hop, that was a big thing. I have two older sisters and a younger brother, but my eldest sister, she's sort of like the homegirl that like all her friends were like dudes, but they were like the homies. It wasn't like that. In our house, we live on a cul-de-sac in Harbor City. And our house was like the kick it spot. So all her friends used to come every summer and just play ball. And they were older. Yeah. She's probably like 5 or 6 years older than me.
Got it.
And all her friends would just treat me like the little homie.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like, get out of here. They were like, all right, dude. And they would play ball. They would, some of them were into DJing. My sister used to throw like house parties at the pad.
Yeah.
And that was my first sort of like time seeing a set of turntables and like old school house parties, like red and blue, police beacons, like the whole DJ coffin, like the whole big speakers on like wheels. And I think through her friends, I got exposed to like hip hop.
Yep.
And I remember we used to have gatherings at our house, and we used to have a tape deck, and I used to like line up tapes, like cassette singles to play just to like see their reaction and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then that led into like, MTV Raps and like watching music videos on BET, and we used to like, me and my boy used to like record our own music videos. And it was like that fun era with like New Jack Swing.
Yep.
Like, Kid and Play and like Guy and
yeah, really fun.
Yeah, Kwame, and just like that fun hip hop era. And so hip hop was a big part of like I was fortunate to grow up in that era of that golden age of hip hop.
Yeah. So
it was basketball, sports, and like hip hop.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. Explains a lot of like how you ended up sort of in this world,
right?
So what happened in high school? You tried out for the high school team and didn't make it?
Yeah. I was like, I went to private school my whole life, from grade school to high school, and Bishop Montgomery, shout out. They had a really good basketball program, and at the time when I was in grade school, I thought I was really good. Like I was like just like, no look passes. Like I was like Magic Johnson on the court.
Yeah.
And I get to high school, and it was just like a rude awakening. Like you're really not that good.
That's amazing.
like, you
Every
really
kid needs that though, you know?
yeah.
Like you need that like moment where like you sort of check if your dreams are checking
Yeah.
out or not, you know?
It was
So were you like devastated?
well, I wouldn't say devastated, but I was like, shit. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't give up.
Yeah.
So like I tried out for the freshman team. I didn't make it.
Uh-huh.
So then I went to the summer program and worked my ass off. Like they have like, okay, like it's a development thing. Like join the summer program and then like you work on your skills and you come back and you can try out again. So I did that, tried out for the sophomore team and I didn't make it. And I was like, dude, I suck.
And then was
like,
that it?
That was it. That was it. And then I discovered DJing.
Got it.
And that changed my life. That was like, you know how like I know a lot of skaters, like you hear about a lot of these like successful skate dudes, right? Whether they start a business or whatever it is, and they're like, I owe everything to skateboarding.
Yep.
And I've thought back to like how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
And my shit is DJing.
Really?
Yeah.
How
like that.
so? Like how do you feel like that helped your craft you as a human being?
I think it planted the entrepreneurial seed in me because I was able to like make money, really good money as like a 15, 16-year-old kid and do something and make money doing something that I love.
Yep.
And
by yourself too. You
Well,
know, like
yeah.
that's why I credit so much to skateboarding too, is like you don't have a coach, you don't have a teammate, you don't have a quarterback to, you know what I mean? Like you just, it's like if you want to make more money, you have to go do more work.
yeah, absolutely.
what I
I mean, I had a DJ crew, so I can't take all the credit.
Yeah.
But it was just me and like, you know, a few of my best friends that started this crew.
But no like authority, right?
No,
like
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah, yeah.
management or no like
Right.
Yeah.
It's
like the self-management
Right.
skills, I think,
And
is what's
it's the
so
hustle.
huge. Yeah.
It's like you go do a gig and maybe your first gig you get paid pennies or whatever, and then you just start to learn how to be like, you know what, like kind of like I know my worth and like I'm gonna try to get $400 for this gig and see what happens, and then you get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, like and then and it just kind of like
Snowballs.
the snowballs.
Yeah,
from there.
yeah. No, I get it. I think that's a huge thing. And I think like that moment, I think the sort of fundamental step one of all entrepreneurs is that self-management and that like realizing how to market yourself and charge more money for yourself and like just sort of breaking the mold. Like I think a lot of people, not that it's bad, I think a lot of people do it by choice, but a lot of people just learn that you're supposed to stay in the grid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like you go
Absolutely.
to high school, you perform well, you go to college, you perform well, you get a good job and you perform well. And it's sort of like
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But when you
totally
learn,
understand. Yeah.
you learn early, like,
It's-
oh shit, I can break this.
And why did that like is that's lucky? I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, for someone, I think everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be not to say that you can't be a successful entrepreneur without that, but like it is sort of like, whoa, open your eyes to like, okay.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people, one of the biggest questions is, are entrepreneurs born or made? Like this sort of this thing that everyone asks on these business shows or business things. And I feel like everyone just wants to find the answer, but I don't know the answer, to be honest. I think that like being exposed to an opportunity like that at a young age through a chain of events can cause you to never settle for a normal job.
I think you hit it right on the head. Like
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely I would agree with that. For
right?
Sure.
Where like
Yeah.
if you maybe, and same with me, but if you maybe hadn't seen that was even possible through whatever circumstances, you might have, went on to college and just sort of like, I don't know, I don't have expectations.
I was
bigger than
on
this.
that path.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the reason I went to college was to kind of, make my parents proud. Like not that I hated school, but it was sort of like it wasn't I wasn't, it wasn't really my thing. I would go to college and my sister, Amy, my oldest sister, she would put together my schedule because I was just I was fucking lazy.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, I don't like my mom, like I was just like, can you like whatever classes I need to take to get me out of here.
Yeah.
And then I would literally go to class and then I'd be like, I'd find out what is the minimum. Like what do I need to pass?
Yep.
A C? All right. That's what I'm gunning
Deal.
for is a C.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even like the career path of choosing, I graduated with a business administration degree.
Where did you, so let me ask you one thing just to take it back. Like what type of parties and stuff were you DJing? Just anything?
House parties, like
Got it.
anything.
Like how did that work? Like sort of you just built up a network of people that knew you were a DJ, and they would just hit you up and be like, "Hey, how much to do this party?"
Yeah, well, I think it kinda. I mean, the way I was exposed to DJing, I was at my friend's pad. He was like, it was like the pad in high school, like after school, every day. You go there and you go hang out, smoke weed, drink, whatever, just kick it.
Yep.
And they were DJs.
Yep.
And so, yeah. Anyways, I mixed my first record at his house, and then I got hooked. Called two of my best friends, like literally the next day. I was like, let's start a crew.
Yep.
And then we like raised money, got the turntables, this, that. So once I had the setup, it was just about practicing. Like they would. A good friend of mine, DJ Echo. I don't know if you,
I do.
you know. So he was a big part of like showing me the fundamentals of mixing and how to do doubles. And this is like all vinyl. This is all like
the real shit. Yeah.
So it was about practice. So my two of my best friends, we'd come over to my house and we'd just like spin records for hours. And you would get to a point where like, yo, that sounds pretty good. Like, and then. Yeah, it would just start like I remember our first gig ever was a classmate of ours from Bishop, and he was throwing a house party, and I just convinced him somehow like, yo, let us spin. Yeah. And we did, and it probably sounded horrible, but you just kind of learn. You kind of just learn as you go, I guess. Yeah. And the more practice, the better, and then. Your confidence goes up, and it's also like about being like in front of people too. Yep. Because you're like, I guess on a stage.
Oh, that's insane! One time I had this fantasy that I was going to become a DJ. I think it was like early on, I don't know, when I was probably 20 years old or something, or 21, and I sat and learned how to beat match and do all that stuff, and I felt super confident, like in my boy's garage. And then one night he's like, yo, I have a gig tonight at this bar, like in Silver Lake. And he's like, do you want to try to do it for 20 minutes? And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. And it was probably the most scared I've ever been. You know, like standing up there, and the moment it's like in your hands and people are sort of asking you to play songs or reacting to what you're playing and you can't really hear. And like, man, it gave me a huge amount of respect for DJs that I didn't really know. You know what I mean? Like, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it is. Especially when it is always easier to like kind of not make that jump from the garage to like an actual bar or like a club. Like if you could do, I mean, obviously we're older now, but like I grew up, when I started doing this, I was like 15, 16 years old. So it was easy to do like a house party. Yeah. Like that no one really, like you wouldn't get booed or anything. It's just like trial and error. And then you just start getting, okay, now I'm going to do a high school dance. And then I'm going to do a wedding. And then whoever will book me, basically. And then you just start stacking chips. As like a young kid, you're making, hundreds of dollars a week.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I've always, the thing about it though, is like I've always had a job. Like when I was at age 15, I got a worker's permit and I just wanted to work. Like I wanted to like, I remember my first job was at Dairy Queen in the mall, like the ice cream place. But I was also DJing at the same time. Yeah. So I do this part-time job, 20, 30 hours a week. And then on the weekends, I get a gig and I'd fucking make more money in like a gig than I made that whole week. And that was sort of like, I think it was sort of like just conditioning my brain, like we talked about earlier. Sort of like, dude, like, and I don't want to, like, I'm serving ice cream and hot dogs, or I'm fucking at a party,
making 3 times
getting
the
paid
money.
to party. And I, that made more sense to me.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. I just love the idea of 16-year-old Jason like driving around South Bay with his equipment, maybe his Dairy Queen polo on, you know what I mean, like switching and like just
Those
hustling.
Are the days, man.
But it definitely makes sense. Like it definitely, when you start to paint the picture of like being involved in that culture and then learning the entrepreneurial side and working a job, to sort of have the comparison, like it makes sense how you ended up here.
Yeah, and I didn't always realize that.
Yeah, no, you never do in the moment. You never do.
No. But like even now, like fast forward to having this company, and I'm like, it took me like 5-6 years into the company to really just be like, how did I get here? Yeah. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's what happens to a lot of people when they have been coming on this podcast, is that when they leave, they're sort of like, oh shit. Like you sort of have this like renewed like perspective on like, oh, that's how this all happened. Because you just don't think about it. You just sort of like
You just go.
Yeah, you just go. So then you decide to go to college. Did you have to sort of put the DJ thing on hold to do that, or no?
Nah, man, I just kept going.
Yeah.
Like from when I was 16, and I had turntables. I DJ'd actively for like 15 years, like to my late 20s. Even after starting the company, starting Jason Markk, I still DJ'd.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so I just kept it going. Like even like it's so funny. Even my first real job, like I graduated, I got my diploma.
And what'd you say, business?
Business admin.
Got it.
And like a whatever marketing side.
Yep,
like
and that was just like to make your parents happy. Just did it.
Yeah, I did, like make my parents proud. I got the degree. Yep. It did. I mean, it definitely helped. I feel like not so much from like the stuff that you learn, in my opinion, not from the stuff that you learn from the books. It's more of like discipline.
Yeah,
because
I think that's huge.
You got to wake your ass up and be at an 8 a.m. class. That's on you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what college taught me.
Yep.
Is like just to be disciplined and like work ethic.
I think that's a like fear, not to play like dad here, but like a fear of sort of this new age of Instagram entrepreneurs, right? Where everyone's an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur is cooler than ever. I think that that's really cool and dope, but like at the same time, I think that people are losing that discipline, you know, because it's like, oh no, fuck it, I have an Instagram business page and I'm an entrepreneur now, and it's like you're not learning sort of the basic discipline that it takes to just do anything.
I agree.
Okay, so go back on your story. So you said you graduated and you got your first job.
I graduated. I was like, what do I do now? I'm DJing. Advertising's kind of cool. Like I guess I'll try that. So I did it like a 6-month internship, non-paid, and just kind of just started to feel out what was gonna be my life. Like I don't know. Like I did the internship, kind of dug it. It was cool, and then from that internship, I landed a job at this big, like, legit, like ad shop in Santa Monica. It's like 500 people, employees, like, and I landed at the job as a floater. Which is like, to a lot of people, is like lower than an intern. Like you're everyone's sort of bitch.
Yeah.
That's what I got from people, but I didn't take it that way.
But you were paid or no?
That was paid.
But a floater's what? Just sort of like an assistant type, like for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
everybody's assistant.
This week you're gonna be answering phones.
Yeah.
Next week you're gonna be stuffing envelopes in broadcast, and then they're probably gonna send you there. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care. Like I had a real job. I was getting paid. I got a check.
Yeah.
I was DJing on the side, so that I think that helped, because I was like, I knew I had some other side cash coming in.
Yeah.
But I took advantage of the whole thing. I was like, okay, like I just was positive about the whole thing, and what it did in retrospect is like, I was just cool with everybody. Like like I don't know how it is in all ad agencies. I only really worked at one. But I felt like everyone stays, like it's like high school. Like everyone's like in their own clique.
Yep.
Like, oh,
I think that's a lot of like big offices.
Right.
I think work that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was the floater, so I would just go everywhere, and I just made friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Like some of my really good friends I met from there, and like everyone from reception to like mailroom dudes to like my creative director today is I met through a friendship from a designer
at the agency.
Yeah, so it's just like, you know, to talk about DJing, they used to have summer Fridays, you know, so they had this big like 3-story building. Red Bull shared the top 3rd floor, so those guys were like partying.
Yeah.
And every Friday, the agency would like, there's this courtyard in the middle, and we would get kegs and like, you know, whatever, bottles of $2 Chuck and like goodies, right? And people would just come down like at 3:00 and just party and shit, basically. So it was me and my boy Mickey, or we call him Mickey the Rat. Shout out Michael. He was the mailroom dude, but he was a DJ too. He would like spin at Ibiza, do all this shit. Jesus. And like, so I brought my turntables, and we would just rock out, dude, at these summer Fridays.
That's so dope.
And it was the coolest thing, because what the agency did for me, obviously I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot about branding, strategy, marketing in general, all that stuff. But what I really took from it was just like I guess networking. I didn't go into it like, oh, I'm gonna network the shit out of this. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just like natural.
yeah.
And then
I
just
also
built.
just think at the time, like you don't realize, like number one, you probably picked up a lot of skills from DJing and from being at parties and stuff like that, and you just weren't afraid to talk to people.
Right.
But also, like if you're the floater who's like killing the party on the summer Fridays DJing, like people are probably like, man, this dude's the coolest dude ever.
I think it worked to my advantage. I
Yeah.
mean, again, it was never. I never. It was. There wasn't like a. It wasn't a strategy or
Yeah.
anything. It was just doing it, and then it just. That's why, like, honestly, I think back to like a lot of this shit and like how the company's going right now, and it's going amazing.
Yeah.
We're 10 years in, and I think I'm not gonna say all of it's luck. Obviously, shit ton of hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like there's certain situations I can almost like pinpoint where like, damn, that worked out for me.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
the opportunity presented itself. I recognized it, and it just organically like happened, and then
Yeah.
it took us to the next level,
Yeah.
and the next level, and the next level.
I'm big on like to the point where sometimes I'll drive myself crazy over it, but I'm big on like trying to figure out like I sort of try to Malcolm Gladwell every situation, right? Like I try to figure out why exactly did this happen? And I think it's part of what led to doing the podcast is like I just want to dive into people's stories and sort of analyze why things happen. But like even since starting this and hearing everyone's stories and looking at my own story, like so much of it is luck and so much of it is chance occurrence and so much of it. I just think that the reason why people don't talk about that is because it has sort of a negative vibe to it, right? Nobody wants to say, yes, I'm successful, but I was lucky. But here's what I would say. Here's what my new Malcolm Gladwell theory is it is luck because you can't control outside circumstances, right? You don't know how things are going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen to you, who you're going to meet, blah, blah, blah. But the sort of key to becoming successful is A, your attitude, and having a good attitude about things and being optimistic about things, but B, just working hard and being nice to people and looking for opportunities. Because here's the other thing. If you think about it, there's probably 7 other dream lives that didn't come true for you, but you're a dude with a good attitude that works really hard. I mean, you could have been the next Tiesto maybe, you know what I mean? But through the way things worked out, that didn't happen. So what I'm saying is like, that's what I've sort of like taken from it is like, nobody can really say, everyone writes in their books and stuff, oh, I knew exactly what I was doing and this is how my story went. And it was all planned and it never is. But I just think like working hard and being good to people is sort of this like universal.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it helps, right? Or just be a good dude, like do the right thing, and like, yeah, just I don't know, man. Like, obviously it's not all luck, right? Like all of that plays a part, but you've got to kind of know what you're doing. Like you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
Some sort of plan. Maybe you don't, if it doesn't pan out, but I feel like starting a business, like you've got to think it through.
Yeah.
Like you've got to kind of know the ABCs, and like I've got asked like, oh, how did you like what's your advice for like if I'm trying to start my own business, what advice would you give me? And my thing is like business plan. It's like the boring part. It sucks. Like you just want to like you have this great idea and you have this great like you want to create a brand, you want to like do all the fun stuff, but like if you create that business plan, and maybe it doesn't have to be like a 10-page like book, but like just the basic roadmap to sort of like what you're trying to achieve, I think always kind of helps because then it organizes and keeps you like okay, focused.
Yep.
Yeah.
1000%. Yeah, I just think that like when it comes to people looking at like the grand scheme of their life and how they sort of even ended up with these interests or these sort of habits or these, you know what I mean? Like so much of that stuff just happens from, and it goes good or bad. Like I know people that are just negative people and have a terrible attitude and don't work hard and think that they deserve everything. And those people almost always end up in a bad place.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I know people who work really hard, are intelligent people and are nice to people, and they almost always end up in a good place. You know, it's like not to say just be nice and life will work out, but like, definitely make the plan and sort of look for the opportunity and educate yourself on it. But like, I don't know. I think it's just nice to hear you say like, man, so much of it I think was just sort of luck of how I ended up around these people or even seeing these opportunities, because it is, you just, I don't know, you can't control or perfectly plan how your life's going to turn out. And I think some people think you can.
No, you can't. You can't. And I think it's just like you said, just being a good person. That's part of it. Like you said, I agree. You can't just be a good person and everything's gonna be like rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and shit. But like, you gotta be a good person. Just be true to yourself, and then do your homework.
Yep.
Like it's hard work. It's like hard work. Like it's fun and all, but like it really takes everything. Like one thing that I've said is like once you start your business, like you clock in and you never clock out.
Yeah, never.
Never.
And that's something too, man. I've been so big on, like, I went through another huge phase early on when I kind of looked at success as like you reach a point where it all gets easier. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, but when I just get here, like maybe my business will be sort of official and it'll be self-sustaining and it'll be whatever. And like, that's when I can take a lot of vacations and that's when I can stop caring. And that day never comes.
It hasn't come from me.
No, it doesn't. It never comes. And the way our brains are wired, people like me and you, is like, even if you sold your company today, yeah, you'd probably have 6 months of like good vacationing and living life, but then you'd drive yourself nuts trying to think of the next thing.
Oh, I'd be on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably take 6 months off and just chill with the family and do all that good stuff for sure. But then I think like with the way we're wired, it's like
Yeah, it's
I
a
have
gift and a
I have a
curse.
ton of ideas, man.
Yeah.
And that was like there was a point where the company Jason Markk was doing well, and I had so many ideas, I started to lose focus because I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going
Yeah.
to dabble in it. You know what? I'm going to start another one. And like, I'm not saying that you can't do that, but if your bread and butter is, and you're focusing on, you're spreading your resources and your time and energy and on to B, C, and D,
Yeah.
like A is gonna suffer,
Yeah.
and then you just kind of shot yourself in the foot. So I kind of like learned that real quick and like dialed everything back in and was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on Jason
Focus
Markk.
on what's working. Yeah. So how long were you at the ad agency for, or when did you decide to like it was time to move on from that? How did that go down?
I was there for probably a total of like 3 to 4 years, and I just bounced around. I was the floater for like a year, and then I tried out. I interviewed for like different departments, and like account management, which wasn't really me. I did that for like a year, all the while just learning, and then I ended up in a department called strategic planning, which I really loved, and that was really cool. It's just like a lot of research, a lot of like figuring out why, strategies behind whatever campaigns. So I was there for about 4 years, and during this time, I was always like thinking, like like this is cool. Like I was in the department that I wanted to be in.
Yep.
And I was kind of like just working hard, still DJing, but the whole time I just felt like a kind of unfulfillment.
Yep.
Like I was probably like 25, 26 at the time, something like that, and I just always knew that, like, dude, I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I read this book that sort of pushed me over the edge, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. By
I've never
Robert.
read that, but that's a huge.
Yeah, I think like the author's Robert Kiyosaki.
Yep.
But I don't even know how that fell into my lap because I read, but I'm not like, I don't have tons of books.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like it fell into my lap. I read that book, and like whatever fear or hesitation that I had, it just went out the window.
Yeah.
I was like,
From that one book.
I'm going for
It's
it.
crazy how that works. Like that one book,
Yeah.
that one thing really is like a turning point.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
So did you quit?
I what did I do? So I was working there, and then I came up with the idea. I found the idea to do a shoe cleaner.
Got it.
I was cleaning my shoes one night, and it's like a homemade mix, like pretty simple, like dishwashing soap, OxyClean, warm water, and a toothbrush. That was like my thing, my go-to. And I was cleaning my shoes, and I was just thinking, like, there's got to be a better way to do this, like I'm mixing things that I find at home.
Yeah.
And then I kind of identified like why, I already knew why I'm mixing. Why don't I just go buy shoe cleaner? Like, is because I don't trust the shoe cleaner that's on the market, like in Foot
What were
Locker.
the options? Like
It was like basically
Ralph's or Foot Locker? shoe
it was
cleaner?
just like Foot Locker cleaner.
Yeah.
Like it was the one with like an aerosol can, and it had the spiky cap with the plastic, like the sharp bristles, and
I
it was like
remember that.
foam. And I've used it before. Like who hasn't? Like if
Yeah.
you buy a pair of shoes from Foot Locker, you're like you're
And
getting.
they sell you that whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's just like it's a given. You're leaving with a shoe cleaner, right?
Yeah.
So, and I just think just through having my sneakers and whatnot, it was always the sort of sense of distrust to use that stuff on certain sneakers and materials, and so that, and I knew I wasn't alone. So I was cleaning my shoes one night, and I was thinking, and I was like, to my knowledge, there's no shoe cleaner that's made for someone like me that's like into shoes.
Yeah.
There's like shoe cleaner, but it's like made for like mass, just
For
general.
your dad.
Public.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was sort of like the first like aha moment, and I started doing research to like see if there's anything that existed, and I couldn't find anything. And then the next step, now this was like the advertising training, was like, okay, go out into the field and do your research. So I'd go to like my local sneaker shop and talk to like the manager over there who I knew. It was my local one was like Proper, it was in Long Beach.
Yep.
My boy Archie used to like run the shop, and I remember going in and just talking to him, and hey, not telling him my idea, but just sort of like, hey, what do you use to clean your shoes? And he'd be like, oh, take a soft white eraser and do this. And
so
then
everyone had their own like homemade remedy. Yeah.
Everyone. It was crazy. It's like I'd go to sneaker lineups too, like sneaker drops, and I just talk to random people. And that was like the advertising in me.
Yeah.
It's just like going, hey man, hey, what do you use to clean your shoes? Like it's kind of weird, but like people would be
it's
like,
real
oh,
though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. People would be like, oh, mix this with that and do this, and no one was like, oh, there's this product, XYZ product, go get that, you're good. And I was like, okay, like now, okay, I kind of know like there's opportunity here.
It had to be good, like as you're hearing more and more stories, like just validating your opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being like, oh my God, there really isn't anything.
Yeah, like
that had to be good.
I found like that was the big light bulb. Like, oh shit, okay, you could do this. So that was when I really sort of.
And so when did you like? What was the moment? Was there a moment of like quitting and just going for that full steam, or like how did that transition happen? Like,
so once I found out there was this opportunity, like I started just digging deeper into like, first of all, like I'm not a chemist.
Yeah.
Like I didn't mix the formula in my bathtub or anything. Like first step was, how do I get it made?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I know what I want to create, because the big thing was, what's wrong with the shoe cleaner that's on that was the thing. Like, why am I making my own? And why is everyone I asked have their own home remedy? And it's the sense of distrust. No one trusted the shoe cleaner that was on the market.
Why do you think that is?
Just because maybe because it was like in an aerosol bottle, it was like foam, and then like the brush they expected you to use was like mad sharp, and it was just cheap, and like if you use that brush on suede or like a mesh, it would just
destroy it,
thrash it. Yeah. So I think it was just maybe just
you just tell it wasn't made.
Yeah, it wasn't made for. It wasn't.
Cared.
Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't made for us, you know, and so there was a sense of distrust, and so that really was what I was going after. Like, like today, the tagline for Jason Markk is the world's most trusted premium shoe care. It's not, whatever, like the best, or like it was just the thing is trust. You can trust us. Like, so I knew what I wanted to create. I wanted to create something that was made and took in consideration like the sneaker culture's concerns and needs and wants, and that's what I did. I was like, okay, well, I need to get this made. I know what I want to create. I just started with Google, like chemist Los Angeles,
Jesus, that's amazing.
And
I just love, like, that's real. That's how it fucking.
That's how it happened.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so a bunch of things popped up, and then I remember taking a few meetings with like different chemists, and the first two were like whack and not really trying. I had this whole vision. It wasn't just like I wanted to put soap in a bottle.
Yeah.
That's not how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it legit.
And you already kind of know like a little bit of, not the formula necessarily, but like, okay, it needs to have this and it can't have this because that's damaging. Or you worked that all out.
What I knew is that like whatever the soap was, it couldn't turn it yellow.
Yeah.
Couldn't turn the shoes yellow. It couldn't damage suede, because suede is so delicate, and it just couldn't be harmful. Like it needed to just work. So the first thing I did was Google, interviewed with some chemists, and I found the third guy I talked to. I remember I was at work at the agency, and I was on my lunch break, and I spoke with the dude for like an hour and a half, just on the phone.
Yeah.
And
Because he just got it or what?
yeah, he was just listening.
Yeah.
The other two were like, shoe cleaner all day. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. Like I got a formula in my attic.
I got a filler. I could put the thing on, like I can make your logo for you.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one-stop shop. And I'm like, dude, like
Just tell it wasn't right.
nah,
Yeah.
it's not cool. Like, but this guy was like, okay, tell me more. Like, what are you trying to do? And I was like, okay. So I met with him, and then yeah, I remember meeting with him. And the first day I went into the office was like I brought like 5 or 6 different pairs of shoes to educate him on what materials were out, like what suede was. And there's also like different various grades of suede. There's like, very like faux suede, like cheap suede, and then there's like mid grade, and there's like really like ultra plush suede, and then there's like I remember I brought in like a patent leather, was it like a 11 or something with patent leather to show them like, okay, this is patent leather, this is cotton mesh, this is this, that, and third, and then I also, what I did was I scooped up every shoe care product that existed that I could find on Google, on wherever, like whatever. I've never even used these things. It was just like, also, here's what's currently on the market.
Yeah.
Here's, just educating him. Here's what's on the market. Here's my vision. And also these are all the materials that we might be cleaning. And by the way, here's a list of what it has to do.
Yeah.
Like A, B, C, D.
And it had to be able to clean all those materials with the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well, versatility was important.
Yeah.
I didn't want to also because I didn't have a lot of money,
Yeah.
like I didn't want to have to create like a whole line of things. It was just like, can we create one thing that's like has the safety first of all, and then the versatility to kind of clean whatever. And then we were just kind of off to the races from there. He would like, okay, I get it. And then he would just like call me in like 2-3 weeks and say, yeah, I got some samples for you to try out. And these are just like unlabeled, like colorless,
Just
like
weird bottles.
Yeah, just weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a brand name or anything.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to get the product right first.
How were you paying him? Or were you doing it on spec or?
Yeah, it was just sort of like at that time it was just like we'll create it for you, and then they make their money off the orders.
Yep. That's awesome.
Then I got like later down the line I got smarter and was like, oh shit, like I should probably own. I got like a real legal team.
Yeah.
At some point I was using like the .com legal.
Yeah.
For a
Legal
while.
Zoom or whatever. Yeah.
And then I got a like a legit attorney, and he was like, wait a minute, like you don't like you've been using this guy, you don't own. And so he fixed all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just know that's a huge question, like for kids trying to start things. What I love about the story so far is like you didn't know anything about the formula or chemistry and you didn't necessarily have some big budget to go out and do it. You know what I mean? Like you were just really resourceful and just educated yourself and made it happen, So through all of this, are you still working at the ad agency?
Yeah. So I'm still working at the ad agency. Well, okay, so rewind back, like at the ad agency, what I did was I put together like a PowerPoint deck. And I remember using like their fancy subscriptions to like databases and like to like get like stats on like the sneaker market. This was 2006.
Yeah.
I put this whole presentation together, and I tried to raise some money. I like from family. So like I had it, and I invited like my closest like aunties and stuff to like the house. I was living in my parents' house. And I invited them over for dinner, and I it was weird because they knew like something was up, right?
Like what do
Jason's
you
cooking us dinner tonight. Everyone's here. Like
he has all these weird bottles of fluid.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I remember I don't forget what I made, but I cooked them dinner, and they're all just kind of like, okay, what's next? So then I called them into this little office that we had at my parents' house, and they all huddled around my laptop. And I just basically presented to them as if they were investors.
Yep.
And this was pre-recession, right? So like this 2006. So like people had money.
Yeah.
And so I pitched them this whole idea of what I was gonna do, and I had no idea if they were gonna be like, cool, dude, but like I don't have any money to give you.
Yeah.
But it was actually I ended up like raising like I think at the time it was like $10,000 to $12,000 from like
huge.
my mom, my sisters, like my auntie, like. Collectively, it was like 10 to 12,000, and then I was able to raise an additional 15 from my sister and her husband.
Yep.
And yeah, so took that money, did the first, like once we finalized the product, which took some time.
Yeah.
It took about, I want to say it took about like 3 to 4 months of just testing.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna take this. I have 4 samples. I'm gonna go test. No, I didn't like that. Write down, bring it back. And then he, 2-3 weeks later, he'd call me. I got 3 more samples for you. Blah blah blah. It got closer and closer.
Yeah.
And then once I was ready to like pull the trigger on the first production run, I needed that money, so I had raised that money. Used the bulk of it for the first production run, and packaging was a bitch. Like that was like, okay, not only did I have the shoe cleaner now that worked.
Yeah.
How are you gonna present it?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That can make or break the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that's where the agency kind of kicked into, just seeing like, learning like sort of the strategy behind like there's this like what should be behind the brand.
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, you need to really like tell a story and like have great presentation and all that. And so before I quit my job, so I keep going off into
No, I like it. This is what we like.
before I quit my job, I knew I was gonna quit because the product was already kind of like getting close to being where it needed to be.
Yeah.
I basically hit up my circle of friends. Like I went to the design department and I was like the main dude, one of the main dudes. I was like the main like creative director, and I was like, "Yo, Dan, I'm gonna quit and I'm starting my own shit. Like, could you help me create a logo and like packaging and stuff?" He's like, "Oh, dude, I got you." I was like, "Cool." And like I went to like I told a certain number of people like that like were my friends, but also like could also help me.
Yeah.
And then so Dan, my boy Dan, brought a friend of his who's now my creative director currently 10 years later.
That's funny.
And I don't even talk to Dan anymore.
Really?
But Dan's cool. He's probably traveling the world or something.
Yeah.
But my creative director Chun was the dude who like we kind of just really hit it off, and he's been with me ever since. You know? So he's created the logo. We created the logo, the packaging, everything together. He's been on this journey since like day zero.
Yeah.
So before I quit, I had everything in place. I realized that I didn't know how to sell anything. So I didn't know like if I had to like how this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like if I had to go door to door. So by chance again, my younger brother, was killing the sales game with like these kitchen knives.
Yeah.
Like kitchen cutlery.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's like, and he had his own, like, he started, probably like, it's like one of those jobs where like you're on college campus and someone hands you a flyer and it's like, make summer money.
Yeah,
And like, and that's exactly what it is. And he climbed, like he was crushing it, selling kitchen knives, just like killing it. And one day I saw a binder on like my parents' couch, and it was like sales manual. And I just started flipping through it, and it was like the ABCs of selling, like how to handle objections, like approach, like, whatever, all that stuff. And I was like, oh shit, this is really good stuff. So I thought, it might be wise for me to like learn some sales stuff just in case.
Yep.
So I actually did quit my job. I think I quit like right before summer.
Got it.
And then I asked my brother, I was like, yo, dude, like, can I work with you real quick? Like, just to learn.
Oh, so that's what you did. So
Yeah.
you went and worked with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had the whole shit ready to go.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be extra careful. And so he was like, yeah. And I remember it was the funniest thing because he had his own region of like Torrance was his shit. Like that was his like his world,
His
like his
domain.
like, his domain. Yeah, that was his territory.
Yep.
Is what it was.
Yep.
And he was just crushing it. And I remember he came and made me interview and do all this shit. And I remember like going to his office, and there was like 3 other dudes in front of me, like, oh, you're here for the interview? I'm like, my brother runs this shit. Like, just give me the job.
And he's your younger brother, right?
He's my younger brother.
That's so amazing.
Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, dude, you just got to go through it. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I ended up working for him, and I fucking sold like $30,000 worth of knives in a summer.
Really?
And I quit. I was just like,
man.
I'm out. I think I'm good.
That's so good.
And then I pulled the trigger, and like put everything in place to launch Jason Markk, and this was 2006, and I launched January 2007. Yeah.
Got it. So a couple questions, like first of all, how did you decide on Jason Markk?
So Jason Markk, Mark is my middle name.
Yep.
I added the extra K just because
Make it look cooler. That's your ad agency.
It was cool. Yeah, that was that. It was the ad agency. It was to make it cooler, but also like first of all, it was really to like if people Google search Jason Markk with 1K, there's probably like I don't know how many Jason Marks in the
Plus
world.
you get like news stories about Jason and Mark, and you'd get like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that's
So
right.
so that was the thing was like okay, I just want to stand out. Someone types in Jason Markk double K, I'm like that's me.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So that and I thought it from an aesthetic perspective, I thought it looked kind of cool.
Yep.
So ran with that, and I had like cheesy names before, like all these like options, and I was so glad, like thank God, like I didn't go with any of them.
Yep.
Then I still remember how that came about too, because I had all these cheesy names, and I swear to God, the packaging thing and then the name Jason Markk all came to me in one day.
Really?
Yeah, it was like morning, I was brushing my teeth, and I opened the medicine cabinet, and I had a bottle of like Paul Smith, designer face cream or something.
Yep.
And I was like, Paul Smith, that's his name. Like Jason Markk, you know, like that's timeless.
Yep.
It's not cheesy. And so then I was like, oh, I'm on to something, right?
Let me tell you what I think subconsciously too is like, and this is just how it affected me, is because trust is such a big part of your thing. It's like, I think if it would have been called like handy dandy shoe cleaner, right? Like it would have felt corpo and like you wouldn't have trusted. There's something about it being a person that you know exists, that you know personally came up with this formula, makes it so much more trustworthy. And I think subconsciously you might have done that because like that's how it affected. I remember when I had the bottle sitting at my house, like that's what I thought of it. Like it didn't seem corny, it didn't seem corpo. It seemed like this guy takes this really seriously and this is this special thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank God.
Yeah.
You know? Like I could have went with what it was I was gonna name it Sneak Peek.
Yep.
Which is
that would have been terrible.
Terrible. Terrible. I would not be sitting here if
I always tell people my first name that I was almost set on for Young and Reckless was Vanity. Which that wouldn't have been here. You know, I might have been like a nice little, you know, had a little store somewhere in the valley.
Who knows?
Yeah, but
who knows?
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and then the second part was I literally, brush my teeth. I go to my room. I'm like, how am I going to package this? And I remember seeing a stack of sneaker boxes in my room. And I just remember looking at them and being like, wait, like the proportions make sense.
Yep.
Like the bottle's long and it could be, you know. So then that was another another thing. Like, okay, well, it makes sense. The shoe cleaner, put it in a mini shoebox.
Yeah.
And then, so that's how I came up with. That's how it was originally packaged. Was like in a mini shoebox.
And then what about like as far as like the process of, so you get the formula from this guy, and then the way that it works is then do you have to go hunt down like vendors who can even make something like that?
Yep. It's like, you know, some of these contract like chemists or, you know, like formulators or whatever, like sometimes it's a one-stop shop. Like we create the formulation for you with you, and then we fill it and we label it and do this, but they didn't do that. They was just like we create this for you, and then you buy it from us, and then you got to go find someone to fill it.
Yep.
So
what are the minimums on like
I remember
your
first order, and I don't know if it was due to it was more due to the solution than the packaging, because packaging had minimums and all that stuff. The first run I did was 2,500 units.
Got it.
And that was like a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
That's a lot.
So
you go like, so you worked for your brother for the summer, you quit your job, you took all this money from your family, and you have 2,500 units of this stuff sitting at your house.
Yeah, so I had the money, quit my job. I made the first production run.
Yep.
Next thing was to get it shot, to get like product shots.
Yep.
And my best friend, he was my best man at my wedding. He was like this. He is this graphic designer. He's this creative dude.
Yep.
And he you know, I remember I was like, yo, can you just shoot pictures for me? So we were in his garage in Carson with like IKEA lights and like like and we just did it, and it looked good.
Yeah.
It was super photoshopped because like all the lighting and the shadows were like
Yeah.
mad crazy, but like we got it done, and I put together a press kit.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was following like these blogs,
Yep.
which are now like crazy, like Hypebeast.
Yep.
Like back then, 2006, 2007 was like, it was just sort of like at its peak, or just right about to pop off, I guess.
Got it.
So I learned from the agency again. Thank you, the agency.
Yeah.
Shout out.
That was
Like
your
how to
college,
put
second college.
Yeah, it was. I learned more from there than like college.
That's
but,
incredible.
I learned that you need to put together like a press kit.
Yep.
You know, so I got product shots. I wrote up this like one-page thing about who I am and what the company is, and then I remember going to all my favorite blogs. It was like Hypebeast, Slam Hype,
Yep.
all these like, you know, early like influencers who are now like mega, you know, like the Jeff Staples of the world, and like, you know, Mr. Kim, Ricky Kim, and all these dudes that I was used to follow like on blogs.
Yep.
And I just hit them up on the info line. Like, hey, I'm Jason. I have this product. It's about to launch like next month. Can I send you something out? And if you like it, like, you know, great. The one thing that I've never done, and I still don't, is I never ask for people to post it.
Yep.
Ever.
Yep.
So that's a bit of advice.
And they just do if they like it, or they don't.
Yeah,
if
if they like it, it's more genuine.
Yep.
And if like we've never like really, you know, like said like post this and we'll pay you this.
Yeah.
So back then it was real easy. It was just like Hypebeast would get back to me and be like, "Oh yeah, we'll post it tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific."
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I was like, "Word, like dope." Like,
Yeah.
And they did. And I remember I didn't even have money to create a proper website, but what I did was I got jasonmarkk.com. I bought that, and then I put a splash page up. But just like literally, you go to jasonmarkk.com. It was like a logo, and then you click it, and it opened up a info@jasonmarkk email thing, and that's all I had. And then I launched. I sent all the stuff out. It got posted on all these blogs, and the next day I had like 80 plus emails in my inbox.
Really?
From stores, people just wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
Like just, John Doe who lives in wherever.
Yeah, like,
hey,
how do
I get this?
Yeah.
And then there's also like, hey, I own a sneaker boutique and I'm in, Tokyo, and we want to place an order. Can you send me your line sheet? And I'm like, the fuck is a line sheet?
Yeah, like I have these photos with IKEA lighting.
Yeah. And for the like my first thing was, okay, I need to get organized.
Yeah.
Like I basically like took all the emails, organized them into like just regular customers that wanted to buy the stuff, and literally like one-on-one was like, hey, this is, and I remember like I didn't say I was Jason.
Yeah. Okay, this is Roger, sales director.
You're exactly.
Yeah.
And just like, hey, we don't have our web shop set up, but what would you like to order? And it was just like each and every one of them, like, oh, I want to order one kit, and it's just like manually like going and being like, okay, let me type up the tax, and this is, and then sending them like an invoice.
Yeah. And
then and just fulfilling the orders and like
that's
packing
the dream,
the orders
man.
out. Yeah.
That's the American dream right there,
Yeah, it dude, it was from there, it was like we're off to the races.
Yep.
And thank God, like I didn't, like we had the 2,500 units, but I didn't, like I got to give credit to like my friends and family too, because I didn't assemble all those things.
Yep.
We hand filled every bottle. We hand filled.
Man.
Like we went to Home Depot and I bought those like orange Gatorade like things for like soccer games.
Yep.
I got 2 of those, and I got like rubber hoses and kind of stuck it on the spigot. So, and then we had these big 55-gallon drums of shoe cleaner, and I had to go to Uline and bought this like special dolly that can lift this 500-pound thing. And we would fill the Gatorade things, and then like by hand, I think we even put the bottle label on ourselves for the first run. Yeah, it was just like, I remember I created one that was absolutely perfect, and then I was like, okay, here's the reference. Everybody like in the assembly line, like my sister had a 3-car garage in like Signal Hill, and it was this, the biggest space that we had, and then she let me like set up shop, and we had like a bunch of 6-foot tables. I had called friends and family, had like a pizza party, and they knew what they were coming for. Everyone, it's just the amount
every time Jason invites you for food, you're either gonna get asked to invest or to help
Right.
put something together.
Right. But dude, like I couldn't have done any of this without like their support. Like,
Yeah.
looking back, like they were real. They were
Yeah, that's
really like,
amazing.
yeah.
Just the amount of like support, the family support is really cool. I don't think any of the stories have been like that, right? Where the family supported with the investment and then supported with actually putting the shit together. Like, I don't know. You have a good family.
Yeah, I have a great family.
Yeah.
And like great friends, and yeah, we banged it out, man, with like 2,500 units. Okay, I have that now. And it was crazy, man. It was
Yeah.
really crazy.
So how fast did the initial 2,500 sell?
It took me like a year to get rid of, like
Really?
a full year, and then
Got
it
it.
would just I would consistently get orders. Like, well, that was the cool thing about it, was like every day I would have at least like I would have at least one order on a good day, and then on a good day I would have 10 orders.
Uh-huh.
But it was every day.
Yeah.
It was rare to have one day like, damn, nothing came in today.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
was fucking awesome.
That's
Like, I
amazing.
don't like, yeah. And then I guess one of the big breaks for the brand was our first collaboration.
Uh-huh.
I had sent out a kit to Undefeated,
Yep.
and I used to follow Jupiter. He was no longer Undefeated, but he was working. He was like one of the main creative directors. I just kind of found who I should be sending product to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the internet, and I sent him a kit, and I was at this Nike party with my now VP of marketing, Rick Salazar. Shout out to Rick. But he was really a big part of like showing me, like, the product I had already launched. It was out there. Like, people were like knew about it. It was on Hypebeat, all this stuff.
Yep.
And then he got in contact with me, and he was like, "Oh, I want to help build this. Like, I can show you certain strategies and whatnot." And at first I was like mad suspect, like, okay, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, he was introduced to me through my sister, so that helped. But I
It's
also
still weird early
I didn't have
on.
money. I didn't have money to pay him.
Yeah.
And so we just worked it out. It was sort of like, okay, well, you don't got to pay me. Like, I don't need a check. It's just like every week. It's just like, we'll just do it off whatever.
Yep.
Like, and so he took me to my first Nike party, and I was there, and it was crazy. I was like, whoa, like, this is nuts. Like, and then I seen Jupiter walk by,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, oh shit. Like,
Did you do the run up? Like, hey, man.
well, I was hesitant.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's always
damn.
so hard, but you have to do it.
Yeah, I just manned up.
Yeah.
I just manned up, and I was just like, all right, it's now or never.
Yep.
So like, I remember he was about to leave. It was like, so he was about to leave, and I like ran up to him, and I tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, Jupiter, and he was like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, yo, I sent you a kit. I'm Jason Markk, and he was like, yo,
Oh, that's
that
great.
shit. I love that shit. Like, oh my god, like, so good to meet you. Blah 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 blah. Like, we should do something. And I'm like, okay, like,
Oh, that worked.
real, yeah. And I found, like, I was like, word. He's like, take my info, okay. And then I found Rick. He was like at the other whatever. And I was like, Rick, dude, I met Jupiter, Undefeated, blah blah blah. Like, like, and Rick's like, all right, chill out. Like, like, you don't know. Like, it could have just been small talk.
Yeah.
Like, and Undefeated, like, even back, like, they run shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're a force, right? They're like, but back then it was like, yo, that they were it.
one, yeah.
Yeah, for in the sneaker world, at least on the West Coast.
Yep.
And Rick was like, yo, like chill, dude. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Shit you not, the very next day my phone rings, and I'm standing in my sister's garage, like, with all the shit
With
behind
your
me,
meth lab behind
my
you.
meth lab, and it's fucking Jupiter. And I'm like, hello. He's like, yo, what's up, dude? Met you yesterday. He's like, yo, let's meet. Like, I really want to do this. Like, I think the product's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
That's huge.
this is happening.
Yeah.
So, and then I met with him. We met with him, and it was just like he pushed it through, and it was amazing. And then it kind of just like, it just put our brand on the map. Like,
Yeah.
we like, legit. And then we just like, we did like, in that first year that we launched, 2007, we did 3 collabs back to back to back.
Yeah.
We did.
Who were the other ones?
It was Undefeated, and then it was Nort Recon.
Yep.
So that was like super iconic to be working with, like, Stash.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was Staple Design. So we met with Staple, with Jeff.
And so what on those ones, do you just collaborate sort of on the packaging and then you both sell it?
Yeah. It was just like, okay, here's the components. This is my kit.
Yep.
And then, like, what do you guys want to do? And like, oh, we want to, like, Undefeated. They were just like, okay, give us the files. And they literally just, like, flipped everything.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, the box is no longer white. It's, like, this dope, like, tonal pattern, which was super ill.
Yeah,
we're gonna change the bottle to, instead of the soap being purple, we want it to be like a smoke gray.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're only gonna do 1,000 units.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm with it.
Yeah, done.
Done. So then that was like, we took that and then we went to Nort, and then Stash did his thing.
Yeah.
And then that shit was fucking dope.
Yeah.
And then we went and met with Staple, and then we took it a step further and made like this. It was like it was like a Nike ID box, the old school ones that you kind of pull out. It had that little pull hole.
Yeah.
And we did like a two-tier level like thing that came with socks.
Oh, that's dope.
Like a travel thing. It was dope. It was
That's
super
so
dope.
cool.
Yeah.
Was the reaction like from day one pretty much like everyone loved the formula, the product?
For the most part, but there was it came with a lot of skepticism.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
but before people tried it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were just like seeing it on the blogs, and then they were seeing it on more blogs because of the collaboration, and people were just like, yo, this shit's whack.
Yeah.
Like, this cat is trying to like come up on the culture, and it's soap in a bottle. Like, I do that shit at home. Like, and the thing is I was charging $25.
Yeah.
Shoe cleaner on the market was selling for $5.
Yeah.
And here I come.
Yeah.
And the kit was $25.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a reason.
Yep.
Like, I was just like, well, I know what the product does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would I, as a fucking consumer, what would I pay for this?
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of it. And the second part of it was like, I just need to come out firing, and like, I need to shout out the agency, brand positioning.
Yeah.
Like, I need to position my brand
smart.
away from
Foot Locker.
Whatever cheap like shit was out there. I need to come out and be like, turn heads and be like, who the fuck is charging $25 for shoe cleaner?
Did it ever affect you when people, like, all the negative feedback, or did it sort of motivate you, or
I think for a quick second it did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, that sucks.
I think it does for everybody.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like, people are hating. They don't even know me.
Yep.
People are saying that I'm just trying to come up. Obviously, it's a business, but like people think I'm just abusing like the shit, and to that, like, I was everything, right? I was like customer service, shipping, so I'd be like whatever it was, like Facebook or I forget what it was. It was Facebook. This was pre-Instagram.
Got it. But post MySpace.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And
it's funny how we sort of tell our time periods by social media.
And I would be the customer service dude, like, that would just.
Yeah, so you'd see it all.
Like, all the haters,
Good
I'd
and
be
bad.
like, yo, just try it.
Yeah.
We're not about, like, whatever I said, just try it.
Yeah.
You know. And then once you try it, it's like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's funny how that's just like everyone has that issue, and it gets to everybody. I think people just learn to like not care after time.
You got to, man.
know?
You can't read the comments, because like those guys that are on these forums and these blogs, like, they're trying to get a reation out of you.
Yeah. And now Hypebeast is like just a roast contest.
Yeah,
you know
it
what I mean?
sucks.
Like, I feel like some brands aren't even using it anymore. No hate on Hypebeast, but because
love Hypebeast.
it's literally just like who can roast the best.
Yeah, it's just the comment section. It's like it's like I hate negative energy, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if you're a negative fucking person, like, I don't want to be around you.
Yep.
Like, and even that, like, I don't even read the comments, man.
Yeah,
Just because, like, no matter how good the shit is, like, no matter if it's the best shit ever, there's gonna be that one or two or three cats that are just like trying to just say hateful.
Oh, it doesn't
negative
matter.
Shit.
Yeah, it could be like
Yeah.
Jesus came
Right.
back and look at the Jordans he was wearing, and people are like, those shits are whack.
Right.
Fuck Jesus.
Yeah.
What I just think what's so cool is like the testament to when you find a true hole in the marketplace, like, it works. Like, meaning, like, had you just started another clothing line and went up to Jupiter and said, hey man, you want to collab? He'd be like, hell no.
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
But the fact that you created a product, you were smart, you took the time before you did it, and you truly created a product that there was a need for. Then when people got it, it was like, yeah, I want to work with you. Yeah, I want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to whatever because I actually need this. And I just think like that's something big in business is like before you start a business, making sure that there's even a place for it or making sure that there's a
Yeah,
need for it because
absolutely.
you can work equally as hard. It's not about who works the hardest. You can work equally as hard and just spin your wheels all day.
Right.
Or you can work a little smarter and sort of create a lane. It
Yeah,
just
that's
really
what.
seems like that's what you've done.
Yeah, it really is just that. It's like finding something that something where there is a void.
Yeah.
And I'll like what's super important is just making sure that the product actually works.
Yeah.
Like you can't it's got to work at the end of the day. Like yeah, I could like do all the fancy packaging and the branding and all these strategies and this and that, but if the product doesn't work, then you're I'm not going
Yeah,
anywhere.
you just hit a wall.
Right.
Yeah. So then what run me through the process of so did orders for you just sort of slowly build and the
Yeah.
customers slowly build and everything just sort of and then I am guessing you moved like from garage to small warehouse or
Yeah, I moved from garage, my sister's garage in Signal Hill, and then I moved back to my parents' pad in Harbor City, and then there was just a point where I knew, where like, okay, I need a legit office because the whole living room was filled with like boxes, and it was too much. It was just too much. So that's when I knew like, okay, I should probably go get like a legit office. Yeah.
And was there any other big moments of like any big breakthroughs that were kind of like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening? Any big, like, I don't know, an international distribution or a moment at a trade show or anything like that? Or was it kind of
Yeah, that was probably that was a big one, was the international distribution.
Yep. And how'd that
Because
go down?
well, I knew I needed it because I was shipping everything out of my house.
Yep.
Like whether you owned a shop in Germany or Berlin, that box came from my living room.
That's
You know what I mean?
crazy. Yeah.
Oh man, it's so funny to think
Yeah.
back.
Or like a guy in Idaho, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like either way, it's
Yeah,
all
coming
you.
from
Yeah.
the same place.
Yeah.
And so I got invited to Bread and Butter, which is like if it's like magic times 3 or something.
And for the listener, where's that at?
It's in Berlin.
Berlin. And it's kind of all things
It's
Europe,
like these yeah.
for the most part?
Yeah. I got invited to take some space, and they weren't gonna charge us. Obviously, I still had to pay like airfare and all that stuff, so it was expensive.
Yep.
But we went and with the sole intention of like, okay, we're not here to write orders, like we can, like, but we really need to like go and get our network set up,
Yep.
like our whole distribution thing. And I remember we were there; it was crazy. Like, if it's huge, it's like way like 3 airport hangars full of just stuff. And we had this little space, 10 by 10 booth, and we were busy. Like the first day, like we wrote orders. That's all we did. We just the whole reason for being there went out the window. It was just
Was it mainly from just awareness of the brand?
Yeah.
People already knew who you
people
were.
already knew who we were,
Yeah.
and we just had our stuff set up, and then we got through the first day, and we were like, wow, that was crazy. It's like not even a second to like grab lunch or something.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of regrouped and was like, yo, man, like we didn't meet one damn distributor today. Like we just got a bunch of new shops. Like tomorrow we really got to go and we got to meet people for distribution. And it just so happened that the next booth to us was Ransom. And the distributor that was handling Ransom was Sack and Knoll, which is like OG, like they distribute everyone from like Stussy to like Undefeated, like all these big brands, right? And we just got small talking, and he was like, "Oh, you're looking for distribution?" And it wasn't even it was like a guy, it was Dennis, the homie Dennis, and we just started talking, and he introduced me to like the founder of Sack and Knoll, who was just there, and then that's as easy as it was, like Sack and Knoll. Then I met Klaus and Manny, who's like the owners of Sack and Knoll, and we started talking. They're like, "Hey, do you have distribution in London?" And I'm like, "No." Like, "Hey, let me introduce you to like Give Me 5."
Yeah.
And they are like fucking the OGs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, damn, like this is dope. Oh, do you have distribution in Poland. This is my boy. Like, so it just all kind of like started to happen.
Yeah.
And we won that day. We got back to the hotel, and I was like, damn, dude. Like, I already knew who they were.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know how to approach them.
Yeah.
And it was just a very organic thing. And to this day, I don't know, that was probably like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, I still work with like Sack and Knoll, Gimme Five, all these great like Slam Jam and like OG, like super legit.
Yeah.
Like it's like family. It's
Yeah.
like really, really, really family. And like I know that sounds so like cliche.
No,
or, like,
it's real though.
it's
Yeah.
real shit. Like when we go to Italy or we go to London or we go to like Germany, like or vice versa, it's like real friends.
Yep.
Like really, like we talk business, of course, but then it's like, yo, let's just like kick it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so cool, man. It's just such a cool, like, it's all about just taking the step. You know what I mean? Like, just go. You went there, you had no idea who you were going to meet. You had no idea what was going to happen. And sure enough, you came back with not only all these new orders, but all these distributors
Yeah.
and all, it's just, I don't know. It's
Luck?
just
I
it's the
don't- I
dream.
don't know. Yeah.
Nah, it's just when everything's aligned, I think it just works. You know what I mean? Like when you have a good product, you've worked hard on it. It actually, like I said, it fulfills a purpose. It's, you know what I mean? You're a smart guy. You know what you're doing. I don't know. I just think, not to sound too hippie, but like the world just sort of works when you're doing it right. If you do it wrong, you're trying to rob people.
Mm-hmm.
You're, you have a shitty product with good marketing or whatever it is. Things get real weird and you hit roadblocks. But
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. You got to do good business, and you just got to treat people right, do the
Yeah.
right thing. When like, certain things will arise, like, and you gotta make those crucial, critical decisions.
Yeah.
That could determine, like at the time when you're in it, you don't know, like it could really set you back or shoot you, and you shoot yourself in the foot. But you just gotta, if you just focus on doing the right thing and what
Yep.
feels right. Like I've turned down many opportunities that we could have made like buttloads of money.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel right.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, so I still kind of operate that way too, by gut today.
Yeah. What's the business look like today? Like what's distribution?
So today we're in over 5,000 doors,
Yep.
points of distribution, stores, and then like 30 plus countries. We have the flagship in LA and downtown.
And that's a drop off?
Yeah,
That's so dope.
So yeah, we opened that flagship 3 years ago, and we introduced the first like sneaker drop off service, like
Yeah.
a dry cleaning for kicks.
Yep.
So that's been like crazy. And yeah, we just have plans. We have like, this is our 10-year anniversary this year.
That's so crazy. Congrats.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then what's next, I guess, is
Definitely expansion for the retail and service model.
Yep.
It's no secret. I've said New York. We're looking at New York. I just want it to be right. New York's like a whole nother, it's like the sneaker mecca of the world.
Yeah.
So it's another beast, and I just want to do it right. And that's I've said publicly that it was supposed to be open this year, and it's not. And fuck it, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
sorry.
ready. Yeah.
I just want to do it right. Like, I want to make sure it's right, and that going into New York, I want to do it right. That's
Do you already have the location and everything or not yet?
I've got something brewing right now.
So good. And that thing's busy as hell, right? The one in LA?
Fuck yeah, it's so busy, like just overflowing with shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that like more of a marketing strategy that turned into a really successful thing, or did you kind of know that?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. I totally underestimated the whole service thing.
It just seems like something that you would do to be like, okay, we need a flagship, we need a showroom, we need something. How do we make ours unique? Well, let's do this, and it's a really good idea. But then it's like, oh fuck, like people really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like underestimated the whole thing, man. Like I opened this. Well, I designed the store with the sole intention of having a physical space that people can come and be like, oh, this is what Jason Mark's about. Because they only see us like on the internet, and I wanted to be like play the music that we like just create a physical space that you could walk into and be like, this is dope.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then halfway through the build out, I was like, oh, what if we have this chair, shoe shine chair. It's called the JM Throne. It's like this OG, old school shoe shine chair, hand built in like Georgia, Atlanta, and like it was at the time the store was being built. It was on this traveling tour of like like we'd set up in a Nordstrom, or we'd set up in like a
Got it.
read space, and just like for a day or two, and people would, you'd be able to like jump up in the chair, get your shoes clean for free,
Yeah.
and then we talk to you about like the brand or
That's
whatever.
dope.
And everyone, it was such a huge response from that. So I knew designing the store, I was like, I want the chair here. It's
Yep.
like synonymous with the brand. I just want it here so people can like jump in, get their shoes cleaned, or like get your IG on,
Yeah,
IG
yeah,
Snap
yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
And that's when another aha moment was like, why don't we just offer a service where you could drop off kicks?
Yeah.
Not even thinking about what it could be.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's cool. And then like I started designing the menu and like what we were gonna do, and assembled the team, and it we opened 3 years ago, this last month.
Yep.
And it was, people were skeptical at first, like it was about building their trust.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then once we were able to show them that the quality of work that we can do, and the things that we've brought back from the dead,
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
yeah. And then so it just grew like every year, the volume, and now it's just like a week. It's weekly. We see the same people every week.
Yeah.
Like they'll come and like, oh yeah, it's like
Like do your laundry,
Yeah.
drop your shoes off. Yeah.
it's just that. And so it's just been amazing. It's a learning experience, but I think we've done well with it.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that could be its own? Like, could you have 100 of those? Would you do that if the opportunity was there?
I'm not gonna say never. I'm definitely expanding. But I don't know if I want it to be like, I've been approached like to franchise it
Yeah.
and do all this stuff, but like I just think by doing that, it's such a specific service and skill that's needed to
Yep.
treat these shoes with the respect that they deserve. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a quick like 5-minute thing. Like you're dealing with people's like
Prized possessions. Yeah.
it's not
yeah.
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like whether they're valuable, like whether they're actually worth a lot of money and rare, or it might not be worth anything, but to them, it's like super sentimental.
Yeah.
So it would be a mistake in my mind to kind of try to just open like Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Because if you start messing that up, then you mess up the whole reputation of the brand. I
Yeah,
guess.
no, it's just quality over quantity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there any big things I missed? Any big moments? Any big, like, anything I'm missing?
I think you covered a lot of
I
it.
mean, that's a great.
This is great, man. This is
yeah.
like this is real cool.
No, I love it. I
interview.
enjoy it. It's literally every time this happens, and this was another one where I didn't know you very well. We just met randomly, and it was like, hey, you should come do this. It'd be great. And every time it just, I don't know. This was a really good one.
Yeah. No.
This is the final question I always ask everyone that I love is, if you now, everything that you've been through, everything that you've learned, could go back to 15-year-old self, and let's say you're really hoping to make that freshman basketball team, and you're DJing and whatever, and any concerns or any anxieties or whatever was in your head trying to figure out sort of your path through life, like if you could give yourself sort of that one piece of golden advice now, to make it all a little easier, what would you tell that version of yourself?
Wow. I'd probably say just do it, which is like, I didn't mean that like
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
no pun intended, but like just do it.
Yep.
Like, because I think a lot of people, what stops a lot of people is the fear of, and that's what I learned from that book.
Yep.
Was just that's what kind of pushed me over the edge, was just like, fuck it, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's and you just learn, like, you throw yourself into it. Obviously, do as much homework as you can on it, so you're not like setting yourself up for failure. I mean, it's important to fail so you learn, but like go into it and just keep an open mind, be positive, and just do it. Kind of expose yourself to different experiences, and hopefully, one of them will kind of open up that door where it's just like, whoa, I didn't know. Okay, I'm gonna head down this road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your story I think is a huge like testament to that. I think from like sort of having success DJing but not stopping working, like you didn't throw everything away and just focus on being a DJ, to going to college and learning from that, to working at the ad agency. Like there's so many things that, I don't know, you just seem to have a really good attitude and to not have much of an ego, and to sort of just be willing to work and learn and expose yourself to new shit. And it seems like that's really paid off for you.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, I'm still learning, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
still very much learning every day. And it's just I don't think anyone like has all the answers.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of just sort of like making your doing your best to kind of educate yourself and then just sort of like pushing yourself to just do it. Like just get over the fear and just do it. And if you fail, don't like crawl into a ball and like that's it. Like
Yeah.
like if you fail, figure out what went wrong and then learn from it and then go again.
Yep.
And if you're especially like what pushed me to do it too was like I wasn't married, didn't have any kids. Not to say even if you are married and you have kids and you're older, say you're like it's never too late.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like
Well, especially for the younger listeners,
Yeah.
go do it now.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
wait until like, oh, it'll be easier later, and
Yeah.
then you have a wife and kids and blah
Right.
blah blah. And
Right.
if you do have a wife and kids, go do it now anyway before you
Right.
have more kids
Yeah.
or whatever the hell is gonna
Yep.
happen. Just do it.
Yep, just do it.
I like it. Done, man. We did it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Yeah,
for doing
thank
this.
you, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Cool.